Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And it does sound like you Xbox Game Pass subscribers out there are going to have a lot to look forward to throughout the month of June. Not only does it sound like they have some big plans for this month, but, well, they did just announce 6 more games, including a couple of big ones, so we will talk about that here in just a little bit. Then also, PlayStation will be adding their classic games to the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 sometime here soon, though their implementation has been questionable to say the least. More or less, it's actually being described as disappointing. Yeah, not exactly what you want to hear, but I'll kind of explain what's going on with all of that in a little bit as well. Beyond all that, though, if you do find yourself enjoying the video, go and hit that like button below, as it does help out the channel a ton. And if you are a fan of gaming, go and hit that bell notification and subscribe button as well. That way you can keep up to date with all of the latest gaming news. With that said, though, let's just go and jump right into the news, because we do have a lot, and I do mean a lot, to go over today. Of course, June is upon us, which means showcase after showcase. This is the busiest, and I might as well go and say the most joyful part of the year for gamers, the gamer holiday, if you will. And well, about that, Jeff Keighley just revealed several Summer Game Fest participants. I will include a picture on screen here, but one important thing to note is that this is not the full list. As you can see right at the very top, it does say that more is to be announced, which is a relief because one very notable absence here is Nintendo. So yeah, don't be alarmed by that or anything. Obviously, Jeff Keighley is not going to announce Nintendo's event if they do indeed have one set for June. Nintendo, they're going to be the ones that announces that themselves. But nonetheless, this does reveal some very interesting participants that we might be able to make some predictions for. This includes Bloober Team, which is reportedly working on Silent Hills. So maybe, just maybe, we get some news on that game finally in the month of June. Atlas is also another one here that kind of caught my eye because this is amidst all those Persona port rumors. Though to be fair, there's been ongoing rumors of that for really years now, so who knows what's going to happen with Atlas. But of course you have Xbox and PlayStation. They've already confirmed their own events, so they're going to be on here. Focus Entertainment, that one's rather interesting because they're working on Plague Tale Requiem. The first game was absolutely amazing in my opinion. I'm really excited for the sequel, so maybe we see that one sometime this month. But beyond that, I mean, you got some big publishers here such as Sega, Bandai Namco's here, EA, Capcom, and Square Enix, so it looks like most of the big players are already on here, which is an absolutely great sign. Now we really just need a Nintendo Direct confirmation, and then June is looking like a very, very fun month. Let me know some of your predictions here, though. Does any of these studios stand out to you, and what do you think that they could possibly announce here? Let me know in the comments below. Now, speaking of Nintendo, though, they do actually have a big game reveal set for tomorrow, and this really is just the perfect way to kick off June. In fact, Sega has a reveal set for tomorrow as well, which we'll kind of get to here in just a moment. But first, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company did just announce that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet will be getting new information and a new trailer tomorrow on June 1st at 6 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Now, they didn't really say much of anything else, though they didn't really have to either. This is happening tomorrow, so we're not going to have to wait too long or anything like that, and this could be the first time that we actually see some real gameplay for Scarlet and Violet, and it will be very interesting to see how this game works. We do know that it's going to be more in line with the mainline games and its battle formula, but based off of that original teaser, the world seems to share more in common with something like Legends Arceus, as an example. So we could see a nice combination of the two here, but I'm just going to say for myself, I really personally hope that they keep the challenge of Legends Arceus. That, to me, is the part that impressed me the most with Legends Arceus. The battles, even if there weren't necessarily a ton of them, they did offer a real challenge, especially the later battles. And I think that was the most fun that I've actually ever had in any single-player Pokemon battle. So I do personally hope that they keep that kind of challenge for Scarlet and Violet, or at the very least, offer a harder mode. That's what I'd personally like to see, but I mean, this is something I've been asking for years and years, and I guess we'll just have to kind of wait and see. At the very least, though, I do expect a better look at the world itself, each starter Pokemon, and some new entries as well. They'll probably also talk about and show some different features that it has, and yeah, I mean, for you Pokemon fans out there, myself included, definitely get really excited for tomorrow on June 1st. Now, like I said though, Sega also has some plans, though they actually started to reveal some of that today with a new Sonic Frontiers teaser trailer. They didn't exactly show too much here, but you can see a little how an open world Sonic game works, and I actually think that it does look pretty fun myself. You can see Sonic kind of capture a location, just running around, grinding on rails, and I left thinking to myself, this legitimately does look like it could be a good 3D Sonic game. And I haven't really said that about a brand new 3D Sonic game in a very, very long time. So I do personally like what we're seeing here, but it does sound like that they have a lot more to show in June. They did reveal that starting tomorrow on June 1st, throughout the month of June, IGN will be covering Sonic Frontiers. This includes exclusive gameplay reveals, hands-on impressions, interviews with developers, and more, whatever that means. So if this is a game that you're excited about, again, June is looking like a fun month. At the very least, we're going to leave June knowing a lot more about Sonic Frontiers than what we know currently right now. Let's go and talk about Xbox Game Pass, though, as it does sound like they have some big plans for the month of June. We'll actually get more into that here in just a second, but first they did reveal the first wave of June Game Pass games, and this includes 6 new titles, a few of which are actually pretty good too. As you can see here, this includes Assassin's Creed Origins, which actually includes a next-generation update, more on that here in just a moment. It also includes For Honor Marching Fire Edition, Chorus, Disc Room, Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, and then, last but not least, Space Lines from the Far Out. Now, the big one here is obviously Assassin's Creed Origins, and as I just mentioned, this will include a next-generation update. Ubisoft today did officially announce that Origins will receive a 60 frames per second update for the Xbox Series and the PlayStation 5. So by no coincidence, this is just in time for its Game Pass release, and I mean, this game already looks visually great today. But with it now having that buttery smooth 60 frames per second as well, this is going to be a fantastic game to play on the Xbox Series. And the fact that this is going to be releasing in the Game Pass on June 7th, yeah, this is a great inclusion here. And I can really say the same thing about a few of these other games as well, including Ninja Gaiden as an example. This is a classic for a reason, and now here, subscribers are going to have access to 3 great hack and slash games, including all of their DLC. Chorus is also another one that I've heard great things about. This is a space combat game and a real looker. Visually, it looks absolutely stunning, and based off of Steam reviews, I've seen fans kind of describe Chorus as one of the best space combat games out there, and 85% of Steam reviews do recommend this game. So don't sleep on Chorus at all. This might be a game that really surprises people, and that's what I'm also hoping for with Space Lines from the Far Out. This is actually the game that I'm personally most excited for. I know it's not necessarily your big AAA game or anything like that, but this is a day one release, and it looks very similar to something like Overcooked, which is easily, and I will say that again, easily one of the best couch co-op games out there. My family and I have had an absolute blast playing that game, and I'm hoping we see similar joy with Space Lines from the Far Out. It does seem very similar, though here you're kind of managing your own fleets of ships instead, and from what I've seen, it does seem like it's not just a simple clone per se. It has its own ideas, and it may have even expanded in some ways, again, from what I've seen. So I do have high hopes for this one. My family and I, we're definitely going to be playing Space Lines from the Far Out sometime here soon. But again, the fact that this is releasing directly into Game Pass, in my opinion, is just so amazing. It just makes the choice to play a game like this so easy. I don't have to convince my friends or family to spend more money on a co-op game like this. All you have to do is just to simply go out and download it, and you're going to be able to do that on June 7th. That right there is kind of the thing though, because while they've revealed 6 games for the first week or so of June, it sounds like they have far bigger plans for Xbox Game Pass in the month of June. Right at the bottom of this entire announcement, they went ahead and added this little small teaser here that says, "We're not done for June, so keep an eye on the Wire or PC and Xbox Game Pass Twitter and Instagram for more games, more release dates, and possibly a few surprises now and again. We'll see you on June 12th for the Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase and back here soon. Cheers." So basically here, it very much sounds like they do absolutely have some good news for Game Pass at the Xbox Bethesda Showcase, which I think was already kind of expected. But here they very specifically mentioned that they're not done for June. So it does sound like that they have some surprises for this month specifically planned. I think we're going to get some stealth releases here, and one game that I have seen fans speculate on is maybe, just maybe, A Plague Tale Requiem will get a June release. Now, that's just speculation, but that is a big title. The first game was, in my opinion, just a fantastic game, as I said earlier in this video. But one way or the other, it looks like it's going to be a good month for Game Pass subscribers. Unfortunately, though, we do have a bit of disappointing news today that pertains to PlayStation Plus Premium and their upcoming PlayStation Classic catalog. Of course, always keep in mind that you can just buy some of these games separately without the need of a subscription, but this is a big selling point for PlayStation Plus Premium, which goes for $120 a year. Now, I still think that these games need to be in a cheaper standalone tier personally, but whatever the case may be, it does seem like the implementation of some, not all, but some of these games have not been handled all that well. So what's happening here is that apparently Sony decided to use the PAL version of some of these games rather than the NTSC version. So in other words, you're playing the European version, which on the surface, that doesn't really sound like all that big of a deal, but actually it is, because the PAL version of PlayStation 1 games are infamous for running at 50 Hz. Now, as Digital Foundry greatly covers this subject, this is problematic on modern platforms because they run at 60 Hz. And what this does, it more or less causes frame pacing problems, and even more so in Digital Foundry's own words, this actually makes these games run in slow motion with juddery movement. Yeah, it's just not good at all. Now, I think some people might be able to overlook some of the juddery movement, but they did show a comparison of Ape Escape running on the PAL version compared to the NTSC version, and it was surprising in what they meant by the PAL version runs in slow motion. It absolutely really does, and that begs the question, why did Sony decide to use the PAL version in the first place? The belief currently is that's because the PAL version offers more language options, but even then, this is a major sacrifice in terms of performance, and all at the same time, Sony's expecting fans to buy in to their premium subscription service for $120 a year. Yeah, it's disappointing to say the least, but interestingly enough, Sony is actually listening. Their implementation is still shoddy here and everything, but they did apparently push out an update to fix some of these issues. But again, with another sacrifice. This time they caused a ghosting effect though, so now visually they look off as well. Again, though, kind of keep in mind that not all of their games are dealing with these problems, it's just the ones that are using the PAL version, but even then, you don't want to see these type of problems at all. Now, with that said and everything, one thing to kind of keep in mind is that it does already seem like that they are listening here. Even if their solution didn't exactly work the way that they were maybe hoping for, that still does tell me that they're going to continue to work on this problem. I think the simple solution here is to just let fans choose what version of the game they want to play. If somebody wants more language options, well, they can simply choose to play the PAL version. Otherwise, have the option to play the NTSC version for better performance, and I think that that's the one that most people will go with. Now, going forward though, I really hope that any new additions that they add to the PlayStation Classics will just have NTSC right out of the gate. I really don't know how this problem got past Sony in the first place, but yeah, it looks like they have some work here to do. Let's go and take a look at the poll of the day, though, and with a report going around that claims Apple could be the frontrunner for an EA acquisition, I wanted to ask you all on whether or not you would be concerned if Apple actually manages to buy them out. And well, as you can see here, a lot of you all are absolutely concerned, with 62% of you saying yes, while 33% of you said no. Now, to be fair, that's still actually a pretty good portion that's not necessarily concerned. But yeah, I do lean on the side of the 62% here. The reason I say that is because when it comes to game companies, there's a trust factor that comes with that, because the hardcore game community is very passionate, and I don't know if I necessarily trust Apple. The thing about Apple is that they do have a tendency of having a very closed-off ecosystem, and I don't know what their intentions are when it comes to an acquisition like this. Would they use EA to leverage Apple Arcade, as an example? Would they then make games like Mass Effect exclusive to Mac? Or would they try to enter the game market with their own console? I mean, we just don't currently know their intentions, and at the same time, I don't know that they necessarily understand the hardcore gaming market either. We saw with Google. They didn't understand. Stadia failed because Google lacked the understanding of how this market actually works. In fact, Google shut down a few different high-quality studios because their lack of understanding on how this stuff actually works. I mean, yes, Apple does have their own app store and everything. They have Apple Arcade, but the social game market and the hardcore gaming market, I mean, they're just two completely different beasts. they're just not quite the same, and I would worry what they would decide to do with EA if they acquired them. I don't know if their plans would necessarily entwine with what hardcore gamers necessarily want. That is a big concern alongside the possibility of exclusivity. So yeah, I'm going to kind of lean on the side of I'm concerned about this more than anything, but of course nothing is confirmed as of this moment, and we'll have to see how all of this plays out. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.